Hi, welcome to another consonant analysis. This analysis is with regards to a YouTuber called dmarble, who has been rebuffed or debunked several times or many times by another YouTuber called Scimandan. And the subject matter that's gone between the two of them is whether the Earth is flat or whether it is round. And obviously, from all of the arguments that Scimandan has presented, it's quite clear, it's quite obvious that the Earth actually is round and it's not flat. And two of the most obvious arguments that he's given, which I use, that makes sense to me, is that as things on the horizon, as things go onto the horizon, they sink, they disappear on the horizon from the bottom upwards. This includes mountains and ships as well. That's probably, to me, one of the most conclusive evidences that the Earth is actually round and not flat. And the other evidence that he gave more recently, which I found equally useful, is the fact that when Arctic explorers were making notes of their course corrections, they were actually making course corrections towards the continent. Now, flat earthers believe that the continent of Antarctica is actually surrounding us. It's actually surrounding what they consider to be the flat Earth, and so it's like an edge. And as Scimandan states, if it was the case that was really true, then why would the Arctic explorers be plotting a course into it? They would rather be plotting a course away from it. But as it is, their course corrections were to actually go around it. Now, you could only go around it if it was actually a land mass in its own right and not actually at the edge of the Earth. So anyway, in the video under discussion, basically Scimandan is critiquing dmarble in a video where he believes, i.e. dmarble believes, that he's giving people a physics lesson when he's got absolutely no idea of physics at all. And there was just one particular phrase that he mentioned that was that surface of water is always level. Now, on consonant analysis, I'm always looking out for inconsistencies or artifacts of speech, like where speech is not the way people would normally say it. And this was an ideal candidate. Because it's not grammatically correct. He says that surface of water is not correct. It's not the surface of water is correct. Is not correct. Is level, or not that the surface of water or the surface of the water. He doesn't use the definite article. So I pounced on that, and indeed it didn't disappoint. So I'm so surprised that in such a short phrase there are so many references to deceit, deception, and covering things up. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. I've not had this from or this level of those types of markers from even politicians and pop artists that are being accused of rape and adultery and all of these things. It's just mind-blowing, really. And so what I'll do is I'll just go through the rest of the report now. So interpretation, I've put for interpretation, the subject is presenting material in an appealing way to cover the fact that he is deliberately misleading, fabricating his standpoint due to pride and to prevent losing face also due to blind loyalty of his fellow flat earthers. That strongly comes across. And for highlights, if you look in my report, the link to which is in the description below, I've highlighted I've highlighted text in red, and these highlighted segments of the markers could be interpreted to indicate that the subject is prejudiced by blind following and partisanship. The pink highlighted text refers to components of the markers that could be interpreted to indicate that the subject is falsely misleading the listener. And 3, the cyan or blue highlighted text light blue that is, could be interpreted to indicate that the subject is in error and is fully aware of it. Because you see, the thing is with flat earthers, what I've tended to find is you've got two types. You've got one type that is genuinely believe what they're saying, and then you've got the other type, like this D Marble, that they actually know that what they're saying is false, but they still go on promoting it. And obviously this D Marble, according to this report, it indicates that he's the latter type of flat earther. So for comments, I put reason. My reason for this analysis is that it seemed to me that the subject is not merely deluded, but is in actual fact flat out lying. This became evident to me from the extract taken, which is grammatically incorrect. It should have been spoken either as, and I've made a spelling mistake, I've put soaken instead of spoken. Should have been spoken as either the surface of the water is always level, or that the surface of the water is always level. Given this inaccuracy, made this sentence my target, and it didn't disappoint, which it didn't. Well, it did in a way, because I don't want to even conceive that or even come into contact with people that tell lies. It's not so many. Why not just tell the truth? Comments. Point number 2. Attack. The blue highlighted text. That's the dark blue. These components conjure up the images of an animal on the attack. There was lots of reference to that, like to A and B in attack. And if it's the case that the subject is in the right, i.e. that D Marble is in the right, why do the results indicate that he's mounting an offensive? I mean, why would you need to? The facts speak for themselves. You don't need to be on the attack. Surely a true argument can defend itself and does not need to attack. And then just a supererogatory issue, that in two different markers, there is references to, bedroom matters. That's all I'll say if there's any kids listening. And obviously you can look into that yourself. They are supererogatory. They are only components. And with markers, what you have to do is pick out the markers which seem best to actually fit the situation. In a situation where it's before the fact, sometimes you just have to put them all in, all the components in, unless it's something which is wildly not connected. There's no way it could possibly be connected, and then you might have to do some research to find if it is. But where it's after the fact, like for example, we know that the flat Earth theory is bunkum, it's false. Then it's easy to pick out the markers which actually fit what you're talking about. And in this case, I don't see how those two fit unless that activity has taken place shortly before the subject was actually giving his video presentation, because that sometimes just happen. I do find that marker comes out sometimes, which is quite natural because people do engage in that type of activity. It's a normal human activity. But for the purposes of this analysis, I don't see how relevant it is. But I've just left it in as a curiosity, to go with the animal. There's like an animalistic element as well that comes out. So for themes, I've put attack, deception, partisanship, prejudice, bedroom activities, and willfulness. And I've highlighted in the markers. I've actually highlighted the 3 areas that are mentioned in the highlights. I've highlighted the text as appropriate, or the components of the markers as appropriate in the various colours, so you can just scan down them and see which markers refer to which highlighted areas, of which there are 3. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. My report, as usual, is in the description below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. It's been wonderful having you. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a nice day.